What's going on, guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today I'll be reviewing the NOBULL High-Top Trainer Plus. So 3 pros that I have with the High-Top Trainer Plus is number 1, if you are like me and you are a sucker for high-top shoes for working out and daily wear, I think you'll like this model. To be quite honest, I was a little bit reluctant with investing in this shoe. However, I have since changed my opinion on them. I really enjoy wearing them for a daily wear use context, but then also training in them when it comes to lifting and doing some casual cross training. So I think if you want a high top shoe for working out, these do give you a little bit more range than your traditional Converse or Vans Sk8-Hi. You can rock them for cross training sessions and they do an okay job. Granted, they're not gonna be the best and I'll talk about them in my cons, but if you want a high top shoe for daily wear, cross training, and some lifting, this model does a pretty good job. My second pro with this shoe is I do think they are a little bit more comfortable than the traditional NOBULL High-Top Trainer. So with the Trainer Plus models from NOBULL, you have a slightly thicker EVA foam midsole. So on my longer dog walks that range between like 3 and 4 miles of walking, these shoes have been pretty dang comfortable. So I do see them as a viable pick for daily use. Plus you do have this pretty aggressive lug outsole tread patterning. So if you want a shoe that's gonna give you good grip outdoors that you can wear all day and have them be moderately comfortable, that's also a high top shoe, I do see the High-Top Trainer Plus filling that ask. My third pro with this shoe is they are pretty dang easy to clean. So one of my favorite things with NOBULL shoes, especially in the context of daily wear, and this is why I like my OG NOBULL High-Top Trainers, is that when they get dirty, the super fabric is pretty dang easy to clean and it does a good job with abrasion resistance. So like I've scraped the top of this toe box on a couple of steps in concrete and you can't even really tell that they've been scraped, whereas if you have a mesh or knit, you're gonna see that a lot faster. So I like that as well with this shoe, and with that more aggressive herringbone tread patterning down here, you get a little bit more of an outsole grip and a little bit more of an outsole thickness. So when it comes to daily wear use, I don't think the shoe is gonna break down super fast, and I like that you can clean it because honestly, my old NOBULL High-Top Trainers, I would just rock out in the rain and mud and whatever else, and I would just clean them and they would be pretty much good as new, quote unquote. Not perfect, obviously, but good enough to where they can look good. So I do like that about this model, and I anticipate this shoe also lasting a while, similar to my OG NOBULL High-Top Trainer. So 3 cons that I have with the NOBULL High-Top Trainer Plus is number 1, I don't think the shoe is gonna be like your best performing shoe in any one vertical. So with the thicker midsole and with the heavier upper, it can feel a little bit heavy, clunky, and hot at times. So I think if you are somebody who wants a shoe for some high performance output when it comes to plyos, lifting, CrossFit WODs, I don't think the shoe will be your best bet. I think the shoe is gonna be best served for more recreational sessions and for daily wear. So definitely check your expectations with this shoe before you invest in them. I don't want you to get them thinking that they're gonna be the best of all worlds model, but really, I mean, I would say this shoe is like kind of a hybrid between a daily wear shoe and a training shoe versus being like super hyper focused on just training. The second con that I have with the shoe is that if you like more minimalist feeling shoes, you're not gonna get that with the NOBULL High-Top Trainer Plus's midsole. So with this midsole here, it can feel pretty thick and clunky. To be quite honest, it's not my favorite midsole regarding the overall stack height. Like, it is a little bit more comfortable, but if this was brought down just a smidge or even made just a little bit more plush with the same stack height as the NOBULL High-Top Trainer, I feel like that would almost be a little bit better, because at times these can feel a little bit like anchory and boat-like. So if you do like midsoles that are a little bit more minimalist or have more flex, that would definitely be something to consider, and you might want to look into either the regular NOBULL High-Top Trainer or just a different shoe in general. My third con with this model is it's not going to be the widest shoe on the market. Now, I have a medium to wider foot width, and if I go barefoot or with a very thin no-show or like ankle sock, the shoe's width is okay for my overall needs. It's not going to deliver the most width though, so if you do have a constant battle with your shoes toe boxes, that would be something to consider with this model. I think it will fit more medium width feet really well, but if you have exceptionally wide feet, you might want to pass on this shoe. And also, just as like a 3.5 con, if you've ever worn the OG NOBULL High-Top Trainer and you found them tough to get on, expect the shoe to be very similar. I actually leave them loosened up like this because they're a lot easier to slip on, and that's why I do that. That is not just by my review purposes. I do it because of literally how easy they are to get on when they're fully unlaced like this. So just food for thought there is that if you're being chased by a murderer one night and you need to put on shoes, don't reach for a NOBULL High-Top Trainer because those suckers are hard to get on at a very fast rate. To break down the performance of the NOBULL High-Top Trainer Plus, I'll discuss how the shoe performs for lifting, cross training, and daily wear. I did not do any running in this model. To be quite honest, I would suggest passing on this shoe for running. Like, could you do some short 400 to 800 meter runs if they're programmed in WODs? Sure, but I'm not gonna talk about the running performance in this shoe because quite honestly, I did not want to run in them. So when it comes to lifting, the shoe does a pretty good job. And I think If you want a shoe for some machine work, for some accessory work, and for some barbell work, the shoe will get the job done. It has a good level of stability, and I think you're gonna get a nice level of traction with this outsole. So for machines and different surfaces, you will get a nice level of grip. The shoe also grips really well on turf, so that's also a perk of the shoe. My only gripe with the shoe for certain lifting contexts is that it does have a bit of a toe spring, and with this thicker midsole, it can be a little bit tough at times to ground the entirety of the midsole of the shoe, because obviously with this thicker midsole, it's hard to put pressure into your forefoot. So for things like deadlifts and cleans, I did notice that a little bit, and that was also my gripe with the low top NOBULL Trainer Plus. So if that's something that often bothers you with your training shoes, definitely consider that. It's not the biggest turnoff in my opinion, and I think you have to be very specific with your fit and feel preferences to notice that, but having obviously contrast with all these different training shoes, I pick up on it a little bit faster, and it is something that kind of irks me, especially when you do want to ground that forefoot to produce more force into the ground. In the context of cross training, I thought the shoe did a pretty good job. Like with a high top training shoe, especially one with a thicker midsole, I didn't have my hopes up thinking like the shoe was going to be like the most athletic shoe I've ever put on, but I think if you're somebody who wants a shoe for some box jumps, blended with some lifting, or even some more agility focused work, or like some more power focused movements, this shoe should do a decent job for your needs. I like that you get a nice level of traction with the herringbone tread patterning, and with this upper construction, it does give you a nice level of security. So in moving laterally, for example, the shoe gives you a nice lockdown feeling. So for more casual cross training sessions, and for sessions where you might be doing some HIIT work blended with your lifting, the shoe should get the job done for you. It's not going to be your best model on the market for that style of training. So if that is all you are doing, you might want to consider that, because these boys can feel a little bit thick and clunky, but if you just want them for some casual stuff, they should get the job done just fine. In the context of daily wear, I have thoroughly enjoyed this shoe, and that's for two key reasons. Number one, I like their appearance and I like their subtlety. The NOBULL branding isn't so off-putting in this model, in my opinion. I like the darker colorway, so I do feel like I went with a good colorway for this shoe when it comes to daily wear, and I like that you can clean it really easily. The second reason why I like this model for daily wear is that it's a little bit more comfortable than my regular NOBULL High-Top Trainer. If you're going to be on your feet all day and you want a high-top shoe, this could be a good option to look into. It's going to give you a slightly more plusher ride, and it does break in after about like a week or two of good use, so you will get more maneuverability up here in the forefoot, so this will break a little bit easier. So for daily wear, I do enjoy this model. So when it comes to lifting, the shoe does an okay job, similar to cross training, and for daily wear, I like this model a lot. And I think if you're on the market for like a hybrid style training shoe for both of those asks, or for all three of those asks for that matter, this shoe does a pretty good job. So when it comes to the price of the NOBULL High-Top Trainer Plus, you can expect to pay $149 USD. I think when you compare it to other high-top training focused shoes, it does a pretty good job for its price, and I think if you're limiting your expectations with it and using it accordingly for lifting, casual cross training, and daily wear, you should get a nice long lifespan out of this model. So I think if you do have the asks of what the shoe delivers on, you will like this model for its overall price point. All right, so now let's discuss who should and shouldn't buy the NOBULL High-Top Trainer Plus. So in the context of who should buy this shoe, obviously, I think if you like high top shoes for training and you're sick of like a Vans Sk8-Hi and Converse not giving you enough range in the gym, I think this could be a really good option to look into. I also see them as a good high top training shoe that deliver a little bit more comfort than the OG high top trainer. So I think this model will give you a slightly more comfortable ride, so that would definitely be something to consider with the shoe. I also like how easy it is to clean and how rugged it feels. I think it would be like a good daily wear shoe to also wear to the gym in inclement weather, and you're not gonna have to necessarily worry about the shoe breaking down super quick in that context. Now, who shouldn't buy this shoe? I think if you're somebody who wants just like a peak performance focused shoe, this is not going to be your best bet. Again, it's going to be more like that hybrid model that does okay in the gym and does okay for daily wear versus being really good for just one thing. I also don't think this will be the best model for folks with exceptionally wide feet. You might feel a little bit limited to the forefoot and midfoot. If you have medium to wider feet like myself, you'll likely like the fit, but definitely tread lightly if you have exceptionally wide feet. And then lastly, if you like more minimalist feeling training shoes, this is not going to be your best option. So you're clear of all the Trainer Plus models from NOBULL if that is you, because these midsoles, they are thick and they are chunky. So when it comes to the sizing and fit of the NOBULL High-Top Trainer Plus, I think most athletes and lifters should be safe going true to size in this model. So if you have a narrow foot width, you should be safe going true to size. And then if you have a medium or neutral foot width to slightly wider foot width like myself, you should also be safe going true to size in this model. Now, I do wear this shoe mostly with thin socks, or actually barefoot as well, as gross as that might sound, because it does give me a little bit more room with the shoe. If I wear thicker socks, it's not only a pain in the butt to get on, but it also limits, I think, the width of the forefoot. So definitely consider that if you have like that medium to wider foot width. And if you have exceptionally wide feet, you might want to pass on this shoe, because I'm not convinced you're going to have enough width through the midfoot into this forefoot. All right, now let's cover the weight, heel toe drop, and insole in the NOBULL High-Top Trainer Plus. So for my size 10 model here, we have a weight of 14.85 ounces. The heel to toe drop in this shoe is 4 millimeters, and this model does come with a thin foam removable insole. All right, so now let's break down the construction of the NOBULL High-Top Trainer Plus. Up here on the toe box, you have an extended outsole layer that wraps up. And then looking at the midsole of this shoe, you have this thicker EVA foam midsole. Overall, I would say it biases stability more than like a plush ride. So that is something to think about before investing in the shoe. Looking at the outsole, you have this fairly aggressive herringbone tread patterning that goes through the entirety of the shoe with some NOBULL branding on the bottom there. Looking at the upper in this model, you have the super fabric upper that wraps the entirety of the upper of the shoe with some NOBULL branding here on the lateral heel. You also have an external heel tab here to help pull this shoe on, which I guarantee you will be using. And then looking at the midfoot construction, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 eyelets that go up. So you have 2 traditional eyelets up here at the top, and then you have 5 more internal webbing eyelets down here running through the entirety of this midfoot. And then you also have an additional loop here on the tongue for security. The tongue does have a low gusset, and you have some NOBULL branding up here. It's a pretty thin tongue, so definitely when you put the shoe on, pull with both hands on each side of the tongue to avoid any rip issues. But that pretty much wraps up the gist of the shoe's construction. That wraps up this review of the NOBULL High-Top Trainer Plus. To be quite honest, the shoe is very much an acquired taste, and it has steadily grown on me. I did not actually think I was gonna like this model as much as I did, but I do enjoy wearing them. If you have additional questions on these shoes, drop a comment down below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. And as always, y'all, drop a like on the video, drop subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.